All right, I think we're working again. Can you all hear me? Hey,
Yes. Yes.
good stuff. Say hi to two of my dogs. Well, one of them's gone. This is Cricket. She is what we call a long-nosed pest. Hang on a sec. Chats. That's quick. Hey, Anthony, don't worry. As long as you can see me and follow along and chat and stuff. If you got questions, just unmute and ask away. I'm going to up the volume a little bit. Okay. All right. I think we've got everything going. A little bit of craziness. For some reason, my laptop just stops having audio randomly every so often, which is kind of irritating. Okay. I got my master moocher here who wants another bit of apple core, and past due to start, so let's get going. So welcome everybody to genetics for this semester. I'm happy to have you all. This whole thing will hopefully be temporary. Oh, here's my other dog. Yeah. Yep. There you go. Because I obviously got the pox and can't come in this week, but I will almost certainly be in next week. So this will be in person. SciTech 231, I think, is the room number, but check in your syllabus just to be double sure. All right, so let me dig out Blackboard again. See if I can get back to where I want it to be. They've changed Blackboard and it's a complete pain in the butt now, even more so than it was. Here we go. All right, so pretty much what we're going to be doing today is really just talking about expectations, resources. Now, let me share my screen with you. So I'm fooling around on my laptop. There we go. Let's see what I'm doing now. Bum, bum, bum. All right, so pretty sure you are the 005 section. No, that makes a huge difference. They're all the same. But anyway, so I'm sure most of you already visited this. This is where I'm going to start because really Blackboard is where everything is at for this course, almost everything. And it's where I'm going to put in all of the recordings. So the recording from today, I'll send that round as a YouTube video. Can't post it to Blackboard because they give me like 320 kilobytes of storage every semester, which isn't enough for much. So the video from today will be going up on Blackboard. The audio from lectures in general will be going up on Google Drive. Everything else will be here. Right, so what I'm going to show you first up is, this is the wrong section. All right, for some reason they don't do it in a logical way, because this is Wednesday today, I do believe. So anyway, I think I've got this right around. So the most important document for you all to check out is the schedule. There you go. Isn't that magic? And here it opens. So maybe. Come on. Here we go. This is the one I want. So the reason why this is so important is this basically tells you what you're going to be doing and when you're going to be doing it. Most of the time it's, you know, a guide as much as anything, right? So it kind of shows you the type of stuff we're going to be covering, like going over syllabus. That's what we're going to be doing today. But also it has some really important dates in it. So one lot of those dates are what you're going to be seeing down here on the right. Move you lot over here, left. And those are the deadlines for the homeworks. Every single one falls on a Saturday at midnight, just to give you time to do it. if you're working or studying during the week. And these are all on Blackboard. Again, coming back to the joy of Blackboard. I got a chat question. You can't hear the audio? Thought I got the all clear. Can anybody unmute and let me know audio's working for you? Try quick. Cool, thank you. So Brianna, try logging out of Zoom and logging back in again. Sometimes that works. So give that a shot. Because really, I don't want you to try lip reading the whole class, because that would be pretty miserable. Okay, thanks everybody. So where was I at? Homeworks. So yeah, you'll find the homeworks here, right? So these are all, they're not tests or quizzes. They're really enforced studying is how I like to think of it. So that's one main reason for the homeworks. One is to make you study for exams, you know, to kind of keep going. Like one of the key things you'll learn in this course is that iteration of learning is one good way to learn, right? So just going over stuff over and over and over again, and it will sink in. So it helps with that regard. They're pretty straightforward, lots of terminology, some problems, very much like the questions you find at the back of the chapters in the textbook for each particular subject. The deadlines on these are not like hard and fast. Again, the second aim of the homeworks is to help you build your points to your grade, right? So this here is one of the key ways in which you can succeed at this course, right? Make sure you do every single one of these. They're 25 points each. I'll write out all the assignments and stuff in a little bit on my whiteboard. And basically they're like a constant drip of points, right? So that's where the homeworks are. The other thing that you will find, which one was it? This one? A, get out of there. My dogs like eating stuff from the cat litter, which is pretty grim. Try and stop them doing that. The other thing you'll find are exams, right? So there are 4 in total. They all cover the work from the previous bit, like before that exam. And so exam 1, for example, is from today, although there's nothing that I could quiz you on from today, I don't think, all the way to the 13th of February, when we finish meiosis or thereabouts. All right, and similar exam 2 is from the 17th of February all the way to, where is it at? It's in here somewhere. There you go, 27th of March. Right, so they're not cumulative. Even the final is not cumulative. It's simply that section. I call it a final because otherwise people ask me, when's the final? But it's just the last exam of the course, and it's in the last day of class. So the dates in this schedule sometimes change, right? So, you know, sometimes stuff comes up, sometimes I waffle on too long on one particular subject and things get moved. So this is a living document in the sense it can change, right? If it does change, whatever reason, I'll post a new copy up here. Come on, wherever we're at. That's what I want. You know, having a small computer is kind of handy in terms of lugging it around. It's a real pain in the butt when it comes to doing this. All right, anyway, so as and when that schedule changes, it will get uploaded here and I'll send you an announcement. All right, so there's also the syllabus. Syllabus is pretty boring. It's full of the usual generic stuff. Lays out kind of the assignments or assessments you're going to be having. So I guess we might as well talk about that then. So there's no particular plan to today. Sometimes I do have more of a plan than other days, but usually I've just got stuff done. Anyway, and sometimes it goes in one particular way, sometimes it goes another way. So, hey, Brianna, did you get audio again? Can you sort that out? I'm not sure if they're not replying means that she didn't hear me. Well, hopefully she's got it figured out. Anyway, this here be the world's tiniest whiteboard. This is what I used while I was teaching online during the COVID era. Kind of ironic that now that we don't have it, I've got COVID and I'm doing it again. Anyway, so hang on a sec. Got a question. Oh, hey, thanks, Alicia. That's very kind. So one thing you'll notice is my handwriting is terrible. Well, I do apologize for occasional. You'll just get used to it. If you can, oh, what is that? Cool. Well, as I say, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. Hey, so Brianna is a real pain, I know, and this is not ideal, but any stuff that you do miss or you want to check, this will be uploaded to YouTube later, so you'll be able to go back and have a look. Anyway, I usually do that within an hour or two at the end of the lecture. So it's not ideal, but it's also not forever. So hopefully we'll cope as best as we can. Anyway, so if you have any issues reading my terrible handwriting, which amazingly has not got any better over the years, even with all this practice, just ask and I will clarify, rewrite, correct, all that kind of stuff. It's made even worse by the fact that I'm sitting on my bed trying to do this. So anyway, there's two main parts to your course, right? Obviously, that's the lecture and your lab. I'm going to change position. All right. Also, by the way, in case you were wondering, we have, sorry, I do get a little bit distracted at times. I do apologize. But if you have cute pets, particularly if they have things of genetics interest, like multiple toes on cats, please feel free to send them through, and then they can join the Hall of Genetic Pet Pick Fame. So this is Pepper Schnozzpick, for example. Schnozzpick, where we're at, somewhere down here we've got, here we go. This is one of my students last semester. Isn't that adorable? That is probably the cutest image ever in the history of pet pics, I think. Anyway, I'm going to stop share just quickly so you can see me a little bit more clearly. So back on topic, lecture, 75%. Lab, 25%. All right, so those two combined give you your course grade, right? So these combined, I don't know, draw some arrows around to give you your letter grade for the course. And then depending on whether you pass or fail, you get credit, no credit for the lab. So if you get a D or better, you get credit. If you get less, obviously you get no credit. Oh, yeah. Well, Maya just came from having to show pictures of pets to people all the time. I figured I'd make it easier and put it into a folder instead. And I actually do have somewhere a picture of one of my students' cats with, what was he called? I can't remember. But anyway, he has polydactyly. So that's kind of where it all started. So essentially, one of the main and most important points, dreaded purple pen, because all our other pens have dried up over the last couple of years, is this basically equals you lot getting a C or better. The lab, if you screw up the lab, you poorly the lab, you don't do the assignments, you don't stay on top of your stuff, the chances of you getting a C or better in the course as a whole are slim. Flip that on its head, the chances of you getting a C or better get a lot higher if you stick to and do a really good job with the lab, right? It's only set 25%, but that 25% is really, really important, right? And it's very deliberately included kind of in the whole. It's not a separate course like Gen Bio 1 or 2 labs are. It's included in the genetics course to compensate for how hard the exams are for the lecture. Okay, that's really, really important. This here is the key to your success, right? So if you write anything down, write that down. If I had more space, I would too. I don't. So lab, and we'll be going over the lab stuff, you know, more detail in the lab, obviously, but it doesn't hurt to put it here. And this is also all laid out in the syllabus, but reason why I'm going over here is really because I want to emphasize again how important it is to do a good job in the lab, right? If you do a great job in the lab, it's pretty unlikely you're going to fail the course. It's not guaranteed, obviously, and you know, done this enough times not to do that, but it's pretty unlikely. So assignments are most weeks, not all weeks, it kind of depends on what we're doing. Most weeks, and they're 50 to 100 points, and that's a total of 500 points. Right, I tried to make it up to 1,000, but I couldn't figure out how. It's too complicated. So pretty much you can just trundle away and get a big chunk of your grade just by staying on top of the weekly assignments. They're not super hard. There's opportunities to go over them in the following week's lab, right? Because the deadline is like that Saturday after. And they're like drawing graphs, annotating gel pictures, yeah, doing all kinds of stuff, right? None of it's super hard. It just takes work, right? Half hour, something like that. And then Fly Lab, if I can spell it. We've got a Fly Lab report and graph type stuff. That's 300 points, right? We'll talk a lot more about the lab report in lab, obviously. This is another great way of squirreling away points towards getting your A to C, okay? So lecture is where people tend to stumble, which is fine. It's not a deal breaker necessarily. People tend to get a letter grade or better higher in their lab than they do their lecture, just to give you a feel for things. So lecture is, oops, 4 exams. Those are 200 points each. Really run out of space here. Equals 800 points total. There you go. Okay, so a huge chunk of your lecture grade are exams, right? You can't screw these up every single exam and still get a C, right? So you can do moderately okay in them every time and get a C, right? So these are important, and they're also, as I'm told by students at least, and you've probably heard this from others, they're super hard, right? I'll go through why they are the way they are later in a little bit. Make sure I keep an eye on time. There are also 8 homeworks, which I've talked about a little bit already. 25 points each equals 200 points. So 1/5 of your lecture grade are the homeworks, 4/5 are exams. Okay. And so these are also, I can kind of awkwardly do that, another really important way in which you can get a good grade or get the grade you want, whether that's a C or better or a B or an A or whatever. Everybody has different ambitions with this course, but you have to get a C or better. Otherwise, you'll be taking this again next semester, right? Because you have to have a C or better to A, enroll in other biology courses like evolution, and B, perhaps even more importantly, graduate, right? So you have to get a C or better in this course to be able to get a major in biology. So essentially, this is like the whole caboodle in terms of your assessment. One of the things that, again, I really want you to learn from this course is keeping on top of your stuff, right? That is arguably the most important thing you'll learn during this course, right? Because if you don't, you will get buried or drowned, depending on whether you're of nautical or land-loving kind of inclination, right? There is so much material that we need to cover, right? That you cannot afford to skip even a week of it, right? Because it just doesn't stop, right? There are no rest periods. Sometimes there's time for a catch-up, right? Or a study session before an exam. Most times there isn't, right? Because I need that time to cover things, right? So you have to stay on top of your business, right? And I'll show you one way that I do that. Where are we at again? Haha, cute dog picture again. So I have a terrible memory, generally speaking. And so I put everything, particularly, dental appointments, stuff for the kids, meetings. Even yesterday, a student reminded me about changing how you can see your attempts in the homeworks, right? Whether you got it right or not, so you can try again. There you go. Dental cleaning in 3 weeks' time. I don't need to see all of those. Anyway, see, that's how I remember stuff. Whether that works for you or not, I don't know. But if I were you, what I would do is in this Saturday bit, whether it's on an iPhone or Android or whatever, stick in 1, the homeworks, 2, the assignments for lab, 3, the exam dates, and put reminders on them. Like exams, I'd want to put a reminder like 2 weeks ahead, so that you go, oh crap, 2 weeks, I've got to study for my genetics exam 2 or 3 or whatever. So it doesn't come like a surprise that, hey, next week we got an exam and you're struggling to study for it, right? You have to stay on top of your stuff to be able to succeed at this course, right? Time management is a major, major deal. And so essentially kind of coming back to the whole ethos of the course, right? So one, I teach this because I love genetics. It's super fun. Like genetics underlies everything biological, right? I used to say that genetics is like the base of everything. And then I had this chemistry professor who's like, well, actually, chemistry is underneath everything. And then the physics professor was arguing with him. But in terms of biology, genetics is under everything. Whether you look at gene regulatory networks, single mutations affecting gene expression, stuff like that, some of what I do, right? All the way up to, I don't know, fitness of different crops over others, change of populations over time, evolution, whatever, right? Whatever scale you're looking at, genetics underlies all of it. Oh, yeah, they're all smarmy buggers, that's for sure. I think they're like top of the world. Anyway, oh, actually, funny enough, some of you have probably had Bob Sheldon as a chemistry professor at some point. His students actually one semester made him a coffee mug, which says chemistry student tears on it. There you go. Probably seen that. Always makes me laugh. So anyway, so one reason, let's get off my calendar, which is like super boring. One of the big reasons is this is just so much fun. Everything underlies this, right? The fact that my recovery from COVID was relatively quick, right? I kind of thank the vaccines that I had. The fact that I got it at all was probably because of the various mutations that's accumulated over time, right? And all of the billions of infections that have happened that have led it to be super infectious, right? So even just my own kind of like sitting on my ass on my bed for the last week has genetics underneath it, right? So anyway, I teach it because it's fun, but also the fact that genetics kind of underlies everything makes this there's a lot of responsibility on me, right? Because you're going to need what you study here for a lot of the courses you're going to take in the future, right? Whether that's evolution, which is essentially a continuation of genetics, some of the upper division stuff, even things like ecology and, you know, like bird stuff and things like that. There's genetics underneath all of it to varying degrees, right? My developmental genetics course, developmental biology, super hardcore genetics, right? You know, biology of vector control or parasitology, you know, like teeny amounts of genetics, but nonetheless, there's genetics in all of it, right? So I have a lot of material that I have to cover because I don't want you to get to those courses and go, oh crap, I don't understand this because my genetics professor skipped it, right? So there's a lot of stuff which we have to cover. That kind of comes back to the whole drinking from a fire hydrant kind of analogy, right? There's just so much stuff we can't even pause to take a breath, right? So the flip side of that is essentially these exams have to test you in such a way that by getting a C or better in this course, you're then able and prepared to meet those other courses head on and succeed in them, right? There's no point making the exams in genetics easy, simply because, you know, you might get through with a C, like more of you than would otherwise do so. But then you just get into those other courses and you'll be, you know, stumbling around in the dark, right? So that's why the exams are hard. That's also why there's so much other stuff in terms of points, homeworks, the labs, so on and so forth, with which you can build your grade, right? Because I don't want to test just your ability to take exams. That's kind of dull, right? I want you to really become kind of well-rounded genetics and biology students at the end of this. Also, all of that will help you in those courses because you become better students, right? Yeah. Cool. Okay. So before I get kind of into my more like preachy expectations part, let's go have a look at where things are going to be at. Okay. Use cricket again. She's our most recent. Call her the long-nosed pest for various reasons. Actually, yesterday, she snagged a air freshener spritzer can thing from my daughter's bedroom and punctured it in my wife's office. So she smells of air freshener, as does the whole rest of the house. It was so bad I had to put a fan in my wife's window just to be able to allow her to breathe and not pass out. Okay, so as you've already seen, what the heck? I posted this to the wrong class. All right. Got to get used to this as to what's where and everything. I posted the pics and audio to the wrong bloody class. I'll have to dig those out and put into the other one. So here you go. This is what you should expect, right? And the video link didn't make it. Super weird. Anyway, sort that out after class. So announcements are where I'll be sending usually after every class is a quick notification that stuff's been uploaded, so you can go dig it out as you need to. Sometimes other things that come up. Course content. This is where most of the stuff that you will care about will be. Oh, cool. Thank you, Alicia. There's a group me in the chat. I'll also post the chat to Blackboard after class as well. Anyway, lectures. So here are all of the PowerPoints that we'll be working off of, right? I don't tend to use the PowerPoints in class. I use the whiteboard, right? So next week, make sure you bring with you a nice big letter size notebook and colored pens or pencils, or if you're so inclined or skilled, a tablet with a drawing app, because you will be making lots and lots of notes. If you want to, actually, I kind of advise it, depends on the student, have a look at the PowerPoints ahead of time. They will give you some of the language, right? Talk a lot about language in this course, different words, and some concepts, whatever, right? I'll give you a heads up, essentially, right? So those are all here. We don't cover all of them. I think there's the odd one or two at the end, which I don't cover usually for matters of time. Another source of material, I guess. These are my lame attempt at podcasts, essentially. These are read-throughs of, or walkthroughs of those PowerPoints, right? So there's one per PowerPoint, and I just explain each slide in turn, essentially. Some students like them. Can you listen to them while you drive to and from work, or if you need help getting to sleep, so on and so forth. This is where you'll find all of the pictures, typically just pictures, normally. The audio will be on Google Drive. The video will be on YouTube, at least it's supposed to be. But anyway, all the pictures will be here, right? So here you go. This is what I did yesterday. Got to delete these and put them on the other section. But anyway, that's where all that stuff will end up. And finally, just kind of one toying around this. In addition to the homeworks, you'll also find, where are they at? Aha, the exams. These are not going to be available to you yet because I haven't written them. These are like placeholders, essentially. But you'll be doing your exams on Blackboard. So whenever the first one is, here we go, 15th of February. That day, the exam will be open from probably like 9 o'clock in the morning or thereabouts until midnight. I will be around on Zoom like this during the class period. You don't have to take it during the class period, but if you want to ask any questions or you don't understand some of the phrasing, whatever, I'll be there online for the class period, right? So exams are a bit different to taking them in person, like paper-based. we'll go over that in more detail in the run up to the first one. I'll also see if I can dig up an old exam and just give you that, give you an idea of what you'll be studying, essentially. They do change every semester, but they're covered typically the same topics, roughly speaking. Depending on what we cover, it's not always the same. So, yeah, Yeha and Jeanette, that's what I'd like to do, at least for the first one. Probably not for the second and third and fourth, because you'll know what you'll be doing by then anyway. But for the first one, so it's less of a surprise, and you'll know. There's also where are we at? Here we go. Master learning goals. So these can suffice for like a study guide, essentially, for each exam. I don't have them open right now, but you can download them yourself. That basically lays out all of the different things that I really want you to get by the end of each section. In addition, there are, if you like using the textbook, there's a list of readings for each subject, particular pages, which might be helpful. I've got them here for both editions of the textbook. So the textbook you find in the syllabus. I've got the latest edition in there just because the bookstore kind of nags me until I do, because they don't like trying to find old versions. But if you do want to get a textbook, 6th edition is just as good as far as I'm aware, and is like really cheap in comparison. I think a student of my other section yesterday said he'd rented a copy for $15 off of Amazon. Right, it's kind of hard to argue with that compared to $200 or whatever they charge you for the newest edition. One of the big pluses of the textbook is the questions at the end of the chapters. Also, some students like actually having the textbook to read it and and so on and so forth. I'm not, for me, I don't like reading textbooks. They just send me to sleep. But some students get a lot of benefit from it. So if you wish to, there's the option. It's there for you if you wish to, but it's not obligatory, right? So it's very much up to you. Okay, so let me take a picture of the whiteboard, and we'll talk quickly about expectations.
I have a quick question, so sorry.
Yeah, no worries, far away.
Yes, so I don't know if you already explained this, but regarding the homeworks, those wouldn't be like an online website to where we would have to get access to the homeworks. You would publish them on Blackboard, correct?
Yeah, everything is on Blackboard.
Okay, as like a quiz, like that type of format?
Yeah, so when you go click on one, it will just open up like any other quiz. It's not really, I mean, it's kind of the format of a quiz.
That makes sense.
But the intention is not that it is a quiz, if that makes sense.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
You should also have at least two, I think, cracks at the whip for each homework. And I think, we'll have to see, but I think I've set it up so you can see where you went wrong in your first attempt. Yeah, that's all right. But let me know if that doesn't work, because Blackboard is a constant source of wonder and frustration for me. And I think I'm doing it right, and then I find out I didn't. So if it doesn't work right, let me know. Oh, also, before I forget, the homework due dates are there because otherwise students leave into the end of the semester and then they get in a panic. But if you are unable to complete it by the due date, for whatever reason, I don't really mind, actually. You can just say that you forgot. Stuff happens, you have work, whatever. It doesn't matter. Let me know and I'll open up for a couple of days so you can finish it. Right. And remember, the aim is to get you points towards your final grade. It's not to kind of punish you or quiz you or anything like that. It's really to help you, right? So in that vein, if you forget or whatever and you didn't do it, just ask, I'll open it up again, you get the 25 points, right? As long as you do the work, you get the grade. There's no kind of penalty. Anyway, so last 8 minutes. I should hopefully be enough. Amazingly, I waffled on for an hour and 15 minutes on this stuff yesterday. I don't know what I must have been talking about. Anyway, so probably in addition to like just staying on top of your stuff, timekeeping, things like that, probably one of the most important things you can do for this course is simply attend class, right? There is no attendance. I don't make it part of your course grade. I don't nag you to show up. If you can't make it, you can't make it. If you don't want to make it, it's up to you. You're all adults, right? You're paying for this. Whether you make the most of it or not is really your decision, right? I can help you if you're there, but I can't make you attend, right? And I don't have any particular desire to either, right? So attending class. Now, correlation is not causation, but of the students who didn't pass last semester, almost all of them did not attend class, right? Doesn't work so well the other way. So if you do attend class, it doesn't guarantee you'll pass the course, right? Obviously, there's lots of other stuff to do. But if you don't attend class, the chances you passing the course are very slim, right? And the reason for that is that you may be full of good intentions to catch up on your notes and go through the lectures and material and so on. But it takes a lot of time, right? It takes at least a couple of hours per lecture to go through your notes, read, answer questions, so on and so forth, right? And so if you miss one lecture, well, it's a bit of an arse ache to kind of catch up, but you can do it. You miss two, now it starts becoming a bit of a heavy pull. You miss three, most likely you go, oh, screw it, I'll catch up with this another time. And you won't, right? Because there'll be even more stuff. You've got other courses you're studying, you've got other things going on in your life, be it family, work, whatever, right? You all have complicated lives. So if you don't attend class, you will fall behind. You will stop doing your homeworks, stop doing the lab assignments. And at that point, it's kind of game over, right? So you have to attend class. Can't stress that enough, right? Attendance at the end of last semester averaged around 40%, maybe 50% on a good day, right? The grades for C or better, I think were around, the percent for the class was around 60%, right? So around 2/5 of my class last semester will have had to retake genetics. And most of those that did so were not in the class, okay? So I can't stress how important this is. All of the materials that I give you, including the audio, the board pictures, the all the other stuff, right, is to help you. It's not to take the place of attending class. Right? And so part of the benefit for attending class is, it makes you show up, right, and absorb stuff, study, listen to me. The other thing is it allows you to ask questions, right? This is another super important thing and something I'm glad to see that you're doing already, right? Don't be afraid of me. I am not a scary guy. I don't think so anyway. I'm a bit of a cute, cuddly teddy bear as far as I'm concerned. But there is no such thing as a dumb question, ever. There may be an inane question where I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of curious. Like last semester in astrobiology, one of my students asked me if I believed in aliens, which is kind of a I don't know. It's kind of an odd question. Took me a moment to think about what to say to that. But anyway, it's still a question, right? It benefits you because it allows you to clarify some of what we're talking about. It benefits your peers because most likely they're going to want to ask the same question, but they may feel too shy to do so. And also it means that you are engaged in the material. If you're engaged in the material, you will want to study because you'll enjoy it, right? You'll want to ask questions. You want to understand what's going on because you want to know what comes next, right? The more engaged you are in the course, the easier you will find it to pass this class, right? Not because it makes you smarter, but it makes you more likely you'll do the work you need to do to be successful. Asking questions is all part of that, right? Don't worry about looking like an idiot in terms of your classmates, right? The only thing that would suck is having to take this course again, right? You know, and paying, you know, tuition or whatever it is that you need to do so. So if asking a few questions saves you however many bucks this course costs, then I'd ask questions, right? And in the last couple of minutes, because we're about to run out of time. Hey, look at that, it's the 3 A's. Maybe I should make that into like some kind of maths 3 A's to learning success or something like that. And the final thing that you can do, which will be a huge boon and something you'll learn to your benefit in future classes, is something called active learning, right? So active learning is basically not just trying to absorb stuff, trying to seek information, right? So a good example of active learning is yesterday in class, something came up on Wikipedia of all places called transcriptional bursting, right? So I was like, well, what the heck is transcriptional bursting? Here you go. It's had my, hang on, you don't see this. Give me a second. Not that this is important for what we're studying. We probably won't even touch on this, right? But I wanted to know some more about it, right? So there's a Wikipedia article. There's a bunch of cool pictures. Start looking at those. Took me to some other things, right? If I'd had the time, I watched a video or two. If I was learning this with a professor, I certainly would have gone, hey, Professor, what's his name? Or what's her name? Transcriptional bursting, like how does that work in terms of what we're learning, right? All of those things are active learning. Asking your peers, hey, such and such, why is this this way? I don't understand this particular kind of concept. Why? What is this that we're learning, right? Your peers can then help you learn in the process. They will learn better, so on and so forth, right? That's one of the benefits to the group me, right? It's not just for asking questions about due dates and things. Use it to ask each other questions about the material, right? Some of you will know some stuff better than others and vice versa. Study groups, right? In person, virtually, whatever, right? Where you quiz each other on this sort of stuff. All of these things are active learning, right? And that's another way in which you'll be successful. Memorization will only get you so far, and it won't get you that little bit further you need to be successful. All right, so that's enough for me. Gone a minute over. I'll get all this stuff up in the right section, which I didn't do yesterday. And see you again on Friday, and hopefully in person on Monday. So yeah, thanks very much, everybody. Great to meet you all, and I'll see you Friday. Take care. Doggo.